Advocate for the Green Party of Canada and is the party's nominated candidate in Toronto Centre. He's also co-author of A Realistic Energy Plan for Toronto. Please welcome Chris Tindal.
Yes, I'm going to do the best. Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. Hey, everybody. I think we need to take a moment to just pause here for a second. If you're in the front and you haven't turned around and looked back in a while, there's a great amount of people here. And I think what we need to do is we just need to pause and recognize the power that this group has. Because we have a tremendous amount of power. I've been thinking a lot recently about how much difference 1 year can make. We were in a federal election campaign just about a year ago. And does anyone remember a whole lot of talk about the environment of Kyoto in that federal election campaign? That was 1 year ago. I was a candidate in Toronto Centre, just running over. It's where I'm running again in the next election. And I felt like I still had to convince people that there was a problem. Even just 1 year ago today, or a year ago this month, we had to still convince people that the environment was something that mattered, that sustaining our life support systems was maybe a good idea. And now look at the group of people that are here today, and you're the ones that did that. You're the ones that put this on the agenda. Because politicians are going to do what you care about and what you tell them they care about, and that's the power that we have. That's the power that this group has, and that's why it's so important that all of you are here today. So I really thank you for that. I thank you for being here and sending that message. It's very important because what we need to acknowledge is that we put this on the agenda, which means we can take it off again. If we stop caring, politicians are going to stop caring. It's a sad reality, but it's a positive thing too, because that's part of what democracy means. That's part of why we're here today. We're participating in democracy. And so now we've moved beyond the debate about whether or not we should act. We've moved towards the debate about what do we need to do? What do we need to do? What kind of action do we need to take? And I want to contribute to that debate. I'm glad there's lots of people here to contribute to those ideas. And this needs to go across party lines. Al Gore, you know, has said this is not a political issue, it's a moral issue. There's a moral imperative to act. And this is my contribution. Here's some ideas that I think we should do right away. This is the easy stuff. This is the stuff I think we can probably agree on. I think we may even see the Conservative government agreeing on this soon. If we don't, we'll call them on it. But we need to end federal subsidies to the oil and gas industry. They're crazy. $1.4 billion is going to the most profitable industries in the world, and they're perverse subsidies. They're perverse subsidies because it's public money going to do public harm. It's crazy. We need to set up a carbon tax. We need to set up a cap-and-trade system for large final emitters. It's key. And you can do that. Don't let anyone tell you that a carbon tax is a new tax or a tax grab by government, because we can get creative. We can shift that tax from somewhere else. We can reduce income tax in order to pay for the carbon tax. And it can be revenue neutral for government. It helps the economy. It doesn't hurt the economy. And it helps our environment. So don't let anyone tell you that you have to make that choice. So that's something we can do. And the other thing I think is really important is that we look at this holistically. It's problematic when you're evaluating. We're going to be in a federal election in about 5 minutes or so, and when you're looking at the political platforms of the different parties, make sure that they don't have their environmental policy over here, and their economic policy is over here, and the social justice policy is back here, because they need to work together. And you can't have an economic policy that isn't in sync with your environmental policy. So this is something we need to look at as a lens. We need to have integrated, holistic solutions to these problems. And that's something I think we should challenge all political parties to do in the next election. So this is the last thing I'm actually going to say. I'm not here. This is not, like I said, this isn't about, it is a political event because we need political action. We can all do so much. Individuals can only take so much action, but our government represents all of us working together, and there's some things that we can only do when all of us are working together, and that's what we have government for, so that's why it's so important. And that's why it's important that you're here today, and it's important that you make those voices heard in the next election. And here's what I'm going to tell you to do in the next election. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I think that would be inappropriate. It's not my job. But what I will do is I'm going to give you some advice on how. I really think you should vote strategically. Here's what I mean by that. I want you to look at all of the political parties' environmental platforms. They're on the websites now, or they're going to be released soon. You can look at ours at greenparty.ca. It's called the Green Party Green Plan. Look at all of them. Figure out which one you think is going to work the best. and then vote for that party because that's your best strategy to make sure that those policies are implemented. Because if you want to see those ideas, you say these are the best ideas, your vote is the strongest message you can send to politicians like me, the other politicians who are here today, that those are the policies that I believe in, those are the ones that I want you to implement. The only wasted vote is a vote that's placed with someone you don't really believe in, or a vote that's not cast at all. So that's really important, and I know you're all going to do that in the next election. I'm so excited that you're here today. Thank you so much for being here. We are powerful. We can make a difference. We know how far we've come in just 1 year, and just think where we can be 1 year from now if we make the right choices. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Chris Tindal from the Green Party. Woo!